MoAde Jagusah. She was my dad's grandmother. When I was born, my parents argued about what to name me. As long as she'd known him, Dad told Mom that he'd named their first daughter Nana. Nana in Tiv means God's gift. She thought it was beautiful. But less than an hour after what my mom describes as one of her most painful births, because I was a fat baby, he decided I was to be called MoAde. I don't remember the first few times Dad told me I was like her. He probably started before I even knew how to speak. As a young child, he was always telling me I was strong-willed and ready to stand up to anyone. It often seems as if American culture is an either-or choice, where you're American or you're other, where it comes down to a matter of who you understand, where if you even understand non-American perspectives, you yourself might not be understood. I couldn't understand Dad the first time he translated MoAde to me. He was on the phone halfway around the world, and it was a shoddy connection. With purple crayon on a piece of scrap paper, I wrote the translation down wrong, thinking it was all one word and misspelling it. Over the years, he's corrected me. MoAde is a contraction for Henma o Adem, a phrase that translates from Tiv to English as leave me alone. Shortened, it technically means leave it, but it still carries the original meaning. Great-Grandma MoAde had a thing for unusual names. One of her sons she named Black Stick, or Staff of Death. It wasn't a traditional name, she just decided to name her son Death Stick. No one argued. After she was widowed, young, tradition dictated she marry again, but she did no such thing. Like much of West Africa, Twekbo clan had elders. They were older, had successful crops, property, plenty of cattle, at least one wife, a hut for each wife. They were only men. Not only did she join them, but she became very respected among them. Tradition didn't change after that. To this day, women aren't allowed to become elders, but maybe it was never about women being elders. Maybe she was considered a man. The way my dad usually tells it, everyone ignored hundreds, if not thousands of years of culture to accept her into the ranks of the most respected elder, but sometimes I hear him refer to it another way. Some time after her refusal to remarry, she became known as a husbandwoman. Dad defines a husbandwoman as this, a woman who acts like she's a husband, performs masculine duties, and takes the place of a man in society. MoAde farmed her own crops, she owned her own land. She mixed with the men in situations where there was a traditional divide. At the harvest feast, when the elder men gave their blessing to men's crops, she was there too. In modern day America, it's not the easiest thing to be non-binary, or gender non-conforming, or bigender, or whatever you want to call that thing, when a person is both a man and a woman. Yes, when I walk down the street, most streets at night, they're well kept and the street lights on my either side glow with the full electricity of a working power grid, but there is the sense in the back of my mind that I should be afraid. I'm not. That constant fear would take too much out of me, but it would make sense if I were. In 21st century America, it can feel as if the world has a claim on my body. Over the years of hearing Dad's remembered, misremembered, and in some cases completely revised stories, I've gotten only the sense that his grandmother never backed down. She did what she did, and that was all there was to it. But my world has gotten bigger, and I've learned a lot from the stories of friends and the misfortune of others. I'm Black, I'm non-binary, and unlike my namesake, I live in the 21st century America. When speaking to the police, I do precisely as they say when they say it as best I can. When possible, I use gender-neutral bathrooms, and I try not to appear too masculine in front of larger boys with something to prove. I do all this for my safety, yes, but also in an attempt to convince anyone watching that I'm not a threat to their way of life, way of thinking, a threat to their conceptions of what gender can be, a threat to the prominence of any culture aside from their own. MoAde, my namesake, would have to change in this world. And maybe that's why we're different. We aren't different because of genetics or family or mind or spirit. We're different because when the world stared her in the eyes, she stared back. We are different because I no longer wait for the world to stare.